Alright, hi everybody. Today we're going to take a look at methods of characterization. So when we talk about characterization, that's just the way that we learn about characters. So we're really looking at how do we find out who characters in a story really are as people. So there are a few aspects that we're going to look at today. One is authorial description, another is characters' actions, another is dialogue, and then another is thoughts, feelings, and reactions. So when we look at authorial description, that's just details that the author gives you directly when narrating a story. So it doesn't really require that we use our inference skills, we're just told how things are. And usually this happens in a third-person sort of narration. So for example, if J.K. Rowling were to write Harry Potter was a really great guy, we accept that at face value. We say, okay, the author wrote that he's a really great guy, and then we agree. Characters' actions, you can think of it kind of like this. Actions speak louder than words. I'm sure you've heard that common phrase. And so we can learn a lot about somebody as a character by the way they behave and the choices that they make. So let's take one example that's kind of cruel. So let's say there's a character that sees somebody fall down. And we can learn a lot about that character if their first instinct is to laugh at that person that fell down, or if their first instinct is to help that person back up. And so we can infer what that person is like, what their personality is like, based on what they do in certain circumstances. When we look at dialogue, one way that we can think of characterization is that we can learn a lot about a character's attitudes by the things that they say to other people. So we can infer that a character is rude if they say something like, "God, Karen, you're so stupid." We can also learn about a character based on what other characters say to that character, or more broadly speaking, what other characters do to that character and how they behave towards that character. So there's a book called Idaho Winter, where Idaho Winter is this great guy, but he's really downtrodden. Everybody kind of walks all over him and makes fun of him. So for example, we can learn about who he is if Stacy walks up to him, spits at him, and says, "You're such a pig." We can sort of figure out what other people think about him and use that to influence our own judgments. Thoughts, feelings, and reactions is a bit more broad. We can learn about a character based on their responses to what happens around them. We already sort of looked at that with their actions. So when they see someone fall down and they laugh or pick them up, that could be considered a reaction. But in terms of thoughts and feelings, it's especially relevant for a first-person narration. So if you have something written in first person, you get a direct insight into what that character is like based on how they think and based on what they feel. So for example, if there's a character that says, "When I saw him hit her, I seethed with rage and could barely stop myself from tackling him." You can learn a little bit about what that person is like, what that character is like, based on the way that they feel about certain events. So that concludes the methods of characterization. There's more information in the cloud if you're interested. Go to the point of view and characterization note in the short stories folder. For now, if you're feeling ready, go on to mygradebook.com and test your knowledge of literary terms with a practice quiz. Okay, good luck.